Hi everyone, and welcome back to our series on financial literacy. Today, we're diving into a topic that's important for everyone, regardless of where you are in your financial journey: savings. My name's Chad Nurani, and with me I have Mike Albee, one of our financial planners here at BFSG.
Chad, did you know that nearly 40% of Americans wouldn't have savings to cover a $400 expense without taking on credit card debt?
I did know that, Mike. I read that study of the Federal Reserve 2022. It's a shocking statistic, to be completely honest.
Yeah, it blows my mind every time I see that. And they update that study every year, and it's time and time again.
It just doesn't change.
It doesn't change, yeah.
So today, everyone, on the back of that type of statistic, we're going to walk you through why savings are so important, right? The essentials of building an emergency savings fund, and just some practical tips and tricks to help you grow your savings and eventually start accumulating wealth over time. So let's get started.
So first off, a budget is a necessity because it tells you where your money's going instead of where it went after the fact. It's really important to get a budget together, and there's lots of great budgeting apps out there. A few that I've checked out or have heard from other clients who've used them: Quick and Simplify, YNAB, which is short for You Need a Budget. I think some of the retirement plan sponsors also have some.
Yeah, most of them. No matter, think about your employer-sponsored retirement plan, right? Wherever your 401k or 403b plan or your 457 is, usually the providers have some type of budgeting tool or aggregator that will help you do a lot of this too.
Yeah, and ideally, once you have that budget and it's laid out, then that will tell you how much you can devote to paying down debt if you have any, and most importantly, what we're talking about today, saving. To quote Warren Buffett, "Do not save what is left after spending, but spend what is left after saving."
It can be helpful to use our behavioral tendency known as mental accounting to quote unquote bucket finances in pursuit of properly building your savings. And speaking of behavioral tendencies, right, just a quick plug for, you can find it on our YouTube channel, our behavioral investing series, very similar to this series, but it goes through kind of 6 biases that get in our way when we're investing. So definitely check those videos out too. They're definitely a helpful tool to help get out of some mental pitfalls. But we're going back to just savings. I like to use what we call a 3-bucket approach. Bucket 1 is your emergency fund, right? The most important bucket you want to start with. Get that emergency fund up and running. Bucket 2 is your retirement bucket, right? Once you have that emergency savings, is now building that retirement bucket that's planning for your future when you're no longer working. And number 3 is wealth accumulation, right? Once you've planned your emergency fund and you're thinking about retirement, is now let's grow your wealth.
I agree. The most important bucket is that emergency fund bucket. And it really buffers you from the inevitable uncertainty of life and its financial implications. Think about your emergency fund as your checking, savings, or other cash management accounts. It should be money that's not at risk in equities or bonds or crypto or whatever else out there. This is your sleep at night money, your buffer of emergency reserves, plus enough to cover any major purchases you expect to make in probably the next coming year, like maybe an auto purchase or something like that.
So Mike, how much does somebody keep in their emergency savings or emergency reserve account?
Yeah, it's a great question, and question we get all the time. If you're just starting out, start anywhere, start building that and get at least a month of it. But typically you're going to want 3 to 6 months. And that just depends on your job stability. If you're like a freelancer, maybe, or you aren't as confident, you're just starting out in your career, maybe on the longer end of that range of 6 months. If you're self-employed or nearing retirement, maybe on the 12 months even, pushing that. But it's kind of a range, but typically 3 to 6 months of non-discretionary expenses. Stuff that if you were to lose your job, that you still have to keep the lights on, paying the utility bills, paying for food. But maybe you can cut going to the movies or any of those kind of discretionary items. But 3 to 6 months of that is kind of the rule of thumb there.
Got it. I love it.
Lastly, please note that for the first time in a very long time, we're earning real money on our cash and savings these days. If you have your money parked in a checking or savings account at one of the major banks, you may not be earning very much. So you may want to look at an FDIC insured online bank to generate better returns, or talk to your financial advisor about cash management options beyond the banks to optimize your savings.
The next bucket we have to focus on is retirement. So this bucket can be achieved by contributing to your employer's retirement plan, such as a 401k, 403b, 457, or other type of retirement account like an individual retirement account outside of anything you might have available through your employer. When thinking about retirement, we typically recommend saving close to 10 to 15% of your gross annual income just to make sure you have a secure retirement. Now, that's meant to be your gross annual, like 10 to 50% inclusive of both your contributions and any employer contribution that they might make to your account via match or profit sharing contributions. Something to think about is the sooner you start, the better. Right? If you start when you're 20 or 25, that 10 to 15% of your gross income applies. That's making that assumption you started early. If you happen to wait until age 40, 45, or 50, you might be moving that rate up to 20, 25, or even 30% of your income that you need to save to have a comfortable retirement and maintain your standard of living. So definitely start early, right? It's also important to contribute on a per paycheck basis and automate your contribution, right? It helps you get up to that threshold that you want to be, and also helps you dollar cost average into your investments so you're not trying to time the market for ups and downs.
Yeah, I think that'd be really hard to save close to 50% of your paycheck to savings because you started late.
Right. So I start late. Now you might have a house or a family, children, all these things, all these other big expenses that come in life. And you're trying to save 50% because you didn't start when you were 25 and probably had the means to save.
Yeah, start early. So the last bucket is for wealth accumulation, which accounts for those goals in life that are not retirement specific. So think maybe like I'm looking to save for a house 10 years from now, or I'm buying a car in a couple of years, or I want to go on that nice vacation in next year to Europe. And that goal demands a specific approach and time frame. So for example, sticking with that last example of trip to Europe next year, it'll cost you about $6,000. If you save for 12 months, then you'll need to save $500 per month for this specific goal. Again, match the time frame, understand what the approximate amount is that you're saving towards, then just start saving each and every month for that goal. And then considering where to place these funds for this wealth accumulation bucket, it really, again, comes back to that time horizon and risk tolerance. And it may make sense to look to invest these funds, not just in cash like your emergency reserve, but a blend of stocks and bonds in a taxable account, not in a retirement account, because you don't want to pull from a retirement account and pay a penalty if you're under age 59 and a half, or pay taxes at ordinary income rates. So it makes sense to put this in a taxable account and probably some mix of stocks and bonds, again, depending on that time horizon and your risk tolerance.
So closing out today, right? Having a proper savings is vital to your financial health. By taking a proactive approach to creating a budget, following the 50-30-20 rule, and using the bucketing approach, you're setting yourself up for a robust financial future, right? There's no such thing as getting through your life and your retirement and having too much money, right? At the end of the day, you just want to be comfortable. Make sure you have enough for your life and any legacy you might plan to leave.
Yep, that's a good problem to have if you've saved too much.
It is a great problem to have. Yeah. Anyways, with that, thank you everyone for watching. Please check out the next video right on our YouTube channel. Thanks.
Thank you.